I think it's important to take a step back and understand how important global supply chains are for fueling global economies. It's also important to note that as we look at tensions between the two biggest economic powers and the everlasting pandemic that took a turn for the worse, a significant impact of the global pandemic is the fact that workers quit their jobs at an unprecedented rate in November, while job openings stayed close to the highest ever levels. Signs the U.S. labor market remained relatively tight last year. It also indicated that the U.S. economy is also fairly healthy in that people left jobs, but were able to find employment in other sectors. Other critical factors that are impacting the global supply chain are inflationary pressures. We've seen inflation first and foremost being acknowledged by the U.S. Central Bank as not being transitory, given the fact that they plan to raise interest rates at least 3 times in the year 2022. Also, we're seeing increasing prices in a variety of different areas. Used cars are up 40%. Things like oxtail are like $20 for 4 pieces. And this is having a huge impact on ordinary citizens all across the United States. It's also really important to understand when you think about global supply chains, the shifting trends in the region, particularly Asia. China has implemented, and in particular many multinational companies have implemented what's called the China Plus One strategy. So historically, companies have invested in China, but one of the quintessential lessons learned from the pandemic is that they can't and should not place all eggs in one basket. When the pandemic hit and shut down China, companies like Nike that have multiple factories all throughout the country were significantly impacted. And so as a result, what we've been seeing now is that a number of large multinational companies are relocating their factories from mainland China to countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, primarily in Southeast Asia, as a way to hedge their risk, but also as they see rising costs in China. The other factor that when you think about global supply chains is the free movement of people, capital, and goods. Obviously, China has seen one of the most draconian measures to contain the virus under what's called a zero tolerance. What we are also observing very closely, in the question on many minds is, when is China's economy going to open up? Our analysis suggests that if everything goes well with the Winter Olympics, then China will probably aim to stage a kind of phased-in opening process right after the Olympics, and if that goes well, then gradually open up their economy.